Did you know teachers aren't humans? They're not allowed to show stress or age, have health problems, show fear, waste time, and most of all, fail. They're not even allowed to go to the bathroom. That's okay, because we're here to talk about how we're all just playing a role. And at 3 o'clock, we get to be us again. 40 years ago, two 8-year-old boys were bored out of their minds in school, and they vowed one day they would do something about it. They did it to honor their friends. They did it to honor their classmates. They did it for the love of learning. I'm Matt, and this is Rob, and 40 years later, we get our turn, but now we're playing teacher. A little bit.
Yeah, I'm recording starting right now, and now I'm
All
gonna.
right. Welcome to Playing Teacher. I'm Matt, and
And this
this
is
handsome
Rob,
young man.
and
Yeah.
and
And Brody's coming in
who's
pretty,
coming
I think.
in? Let's
Yeah.
see.
She
Hey
said she
guys.
was, and look
Hey,
at, wow, we just introduced the show, and then you pop in exactly on cue.
Woohoo! I'm
Nice
here.
job. I
Hi
know.
everyone.
Hello. Hello.
How are you
That was
guys? Good?
good.
Yes?
That was,
do you want to be as the host? I noticed that I can rename you. Do you want me to rename you anything?
Sure, you can rename me as Broogie,
Just Broogie. Okay.
or Beanie. It doesn't matter.
Okay. That's actually what. Do you know, Matt? What do you have
I'm going to be
Broogie?
Matthew Cade. Yeah.
Matt, what do you have Broogie in your phone as? Do you have like what do you if you looked up her as a contact, like what does it say?
She's not there as a, I'm ridiculous. I don't have contact.
He memorized their numbers,
Yeah,
Rob.
No.
Don't you know that?
no,
No.
no, it's very, it's like yeah, there's like, it's a sad part of my life
Maddie, what's our phone?
that
Oh wait, maybe you
I'm
shouldn't
not,
say it.
I'm not gonna say it like live. No, yeah, I do Mac.
Wait, when you want to call Broogie, like how do you do it?
Can you do Matthew Cade instead of Matt Cade?
Oh yeah. But
All right, you don't have, you can change it later.
how do you how do you how do you call her when you want to call her?
I call her by the number because I know it by heart.
Oh, what?
Or I just push, like I push like on text
On
and then
text and then call.
right,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
I sometimes I just dial in the numbers because I know everybody's number that matters to me by heart,
Wait, you know my number by heart?
100%. But I'm not gonna say it because
Wow,
I don't want everyone
wow.
to
No,
call
you don't
you.
have to
That's
say it.
what
It's
Well,
okay.
yeah. I could, yeah,
If
dude.
you
I remember my locker combination from 10 years old at the beach club I went to. 28, 18, 24. It's closed down, so it doesn't matter now. People want to go. They're going to be going to a building. And then no, that was my father's, and mine was 23, 935.
What? You're like a
Yeah.
savant.
And my grandfather next to me used a key lock, so that doesn't matter. But like, yeah. And those like I remember I didn't go there for a few years, and then I went back to work there as a lifeguard at the same club, and I remember the combination. You know what I mean? Like it was still
Yeah.
there. They just like locked it. It's not, you know what I mean? Like it just stayed there, and it was the same lock and everything. Yeah. Yeah, but I
Pretty
should have the
impressive.
but it's because I didn't do the contact thing on my phone, and I just did it that way. I have some people in as the contacts, but then I just did it this way. Yeah.
The reason
Do you
I ask
guys
it,
have?
It's like
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
you guys actually are being really great teachers here because I'm like embarrassed that I don't do it, and then you're taking a negative, which is kind of like what we do, and then spinning it to like this is actually like a brilliant thing you do. It's not ridiculous that you don't have contact. It's exceptional.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty ridiculous.
All right, I know it is.
But
No, well,
but at
thank
the
you.
same
Thank you.
time, it's also impressive. Like I'm impressed. So that's quite some memory you have
I
there.
don't belong in this world. I don't fit in
I
with numbers,
no,
numbers and
I only ask because when I like
buttons and switches and knobs and
Bru Brugie's in my phone as Beanie. This is why I brought this up, and so I just thought that was funny. But then I was expecting you to say something else. No, I didn't expect you to say you just memorized her number.
I remember when you told me, Rob, that your grandmother has like better tech skills than me. Like she's exceptional. And I was like,
That's funny.
I try to blame it, on my age, and you're like, my grandmother is really great at this. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's not an age thing. It's just me. Yeah, but that's me. I accept that I just suck at certain things.
It's okay.
I'll hit one button. You guys will be gone.
All right, Matt, you want to take us into today's topic?
Sure. The topic today is learning
Chairs.
how
We're
to
learning.
use your.
We're sitting in chairs. We're talking about chairs.
It's not about chairs.
No.
No, it is.
No.
It's about chairs.
No.
I like chairs. I like chairs.
20 minutes ago, no, maybe about an hour ago, but no, it wasn't 20 minutes. I called her. No, I texted her and I was like, you know what the topic is today? She's like, chairs. I was like, no, this is the topic. I've been trying to let you know, but you don't pick up your phone ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chairs was with a question mark. I was like, do you like this topic about chairs?
Chairs.
Well, at least we know that she'll be prepared for the next episode.
Yes. Yes.
Chairs.
Well, she had a good hour to think about it, so
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be stimulating stuff. But here we go. So the topic today is the real teachable moments. And teachable moment, they would be defined as like a good opportunity to really learn. And that could be just something that you're actually learning, or it could be something that you're inspired by. But these are actual moments, that could be something that could stay with you, if you think about it, a really great teachable moment for your whole life. So it's like a really powerful tool that educators have, or Broogie, even yourself as a school counselor, to inspire somebody with teaching them something that they can use the rest of their life, or just a moment that stayed with them forever because of something you did, something you said. So there's a lot. It's a lot of power that educators have, if you really think about it. And I'm including you in that, Bree, as well.
Yeah, for
doing
sure.
what you do.
I am an educator. Yeah, sure.
No, exactly.
I want to say one thing really quickly, though. I think like the use of the term teachable moment means something to people, like it, and if you were to like if you were to talk to teachers versus other people. So I think I want to
that's why I said the real teachable moment,
I just want to clarify though.
Let's do that.
I think what we're going to talk about though is a little bit different than how people usually define that term, because what we're really going to talk about is like memorable moments, right? Like things that are etched in your memory, right?
Yeah.
They were teachable moments, but like we're going to be we're going to be like getting into like almost what we named this podcast, like what will they remember? Like what are these things? Like why do I remember this little detail from when I was in third grade 40 something years later, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good it's a good correction. It's not what I wrote down on the but thank you, Rob, for clearing that up live.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, and that kills everything I thought about.
Just in case like all the people who call in and say, "Oh, that's not a teachable moment."
That's not what it means. I looked it up. Well, I actually I think I actually looked up the definition just to be really clear.
Yeah.
But you're right. We are going into but they do overlap anyway.
Yeah, sure.
So
right.
I also like that it's like memorable moments it's positive, right? It's positive, memorable moments, because I feel like a lot of times, like when we're talking about education, it goes like to the negative. So like I really love that you were like, oh, we're going to talk about this today and then like automatically I'm like, oh yeah, like this happened when I was little.
Yeah.
I remember when this happened, like all these memories just started flooding in.
There was, it could be negative too, though. Like,
I was actually thinking, like there's trauma. Obviously, it almost actually, the two things can kind of go against each other. You can have a moment that's a trauma moment, and then you can have these amazing, moments that stay with you that almost help to balance the things out.
So like when you said it, I just automatically thought that we were discussing positive things, but like, yes, of course, like I remember things that happened with teachers that were horrible that I'll never forget, for sure.
You know what happens when you assume?
Yeah.
You
What
you
are you,
make
90 years old?
you make an ASS out of you and me.
Oh boy.
That's it.
Oh boy.
That was from Grey's Anatomy, actually, like one of the early
I didn't
seasons.
watch that show, so I'm
Yeah.
just
That was
honest.
actually
Yeah.
from like my great grandmother, by the way.
I like it.
Madame Duguay.
But
Yes.
but no, no, actually it was from her name was Miss Pignataro. It was my grandmother's
Pignataro.
mother.
I never
Yes,
heard
my
that one. Okay.
grandmother's mother. Yeah.
Um, just a real quick, like I'm gonna kick us off here with a negative, actually, just an example of a negative. This is going back to like maybe fourth or fifth grade, and it was Easter time, and I went to a Catholic school in Glendale, and we got these ceramic things that we were gonna paint, and then we were gonna like bring them home, like a present for our parents, and
Okay.
they were basically bunnies, right? So I painted mine all gold, right? And everyone else is doing like what a bunny really looks like or whatever. And I don't know why. I just that's what I felt like doing. And I remember the teacher coming over and I got in so much trouble for doing something like that's not what a bunny looks like. You know what I mean? It's like she couldn't believe it. It was like, and in my mind I was like, oh, maybe it's like one of those like like the wrapping of a chocolate covered bunny. I don't know what it is. But man, it was like the lesson there was that I never forgot was like, when you're in school, don't try to have your own thoughts or,
You can't
your own
you have to,
imagination. Like you got to
yeah,
follow the rules.
you
You
got
got
to
to,
conform. You got to
yeah,
conform
got to
to this.
conform, son. Bunnies are
Yep.
brown or
But
Did you
gray
have nightmare? Did you have nightmares
or white.
about that?
So
oh,
Did you have
no, but
nightmares about
this
that?
episode brought it back up. So now I'll have a nightmare about it tonight.
Well, I'm going to start with negative, switching over to quickly to a positive. Not a
Okay.
moment, but my positive moment was in sixth grade, right? And I remember the actual project that we were going to do. And why I think it helped, was so amazing for me, and it stayed with me throughout my whole life, is the year before, I was so intimidated by my teacher. And I don't know, I just did not do well the way, the way she taught. And I always did pretty good in school, but I just had like a real flat year, and she kind of just scared the shit out of me, to be honest. And I didn't respond well to her style, if she would yell or this or that. It didn't fit me, right? And I remember like I wasn't a shy kid, but I would just get really quiet. And I didn't do well. We had these things, we had the honor roll, right? And it was like silver or gold. And I remember all my friends made gold. I didn't even make it to silver. So it was like a bum. I got like, if Rob would get this as a wrestling, I'm a wrestling, we're wrestling fans, right? So it was like you got the world championship, you got the intercontinental, and I wasn't even up to the intercontinental. It was like I was maybe getting the television championship,
were you
right?
the only one, Maddie, in your class that
I don't
didn't get
remember. I
it?
knew my friend. I'm no, there was somebody else, but it was like a drop for me because I used to do better, and then seeing like the
Right.
friends that you knew, do better, like it just, it kills your self-esteem.
Yeah, of
But
course.
then the next year, here's my moment. I'm in class, and the teacher's completely different. She's imaginative, she's open, she's fun. Like we're able to keep these like like almost like we could put designs on our desk and have our own specific style, how we want to set it up and stuff. And it was just a fun atmosphere to be in. I remember just enjoying school, for the first time in a long time. And I remember doing this project, and we were going to be going to New York City, right? And I'm in Brooklyn, so it's not like this great big trip, but we're gonna be so that she just asked us for names of what we want to call it. And I said our class name. I raised my hand and I said the class name, whatever it was, takes Manhattan. All right. And she looked at me and she smiled. She laughed. She's like, yeah, yeah, like the Muppets. And she looked at me and I was like, yeah, we sort of had a moment,
Hmm.
right, where we were smiling and laughing. And automatically there was like this, I don't know what it was, but there was like this, this weight just lifted off me. And I felt so comfortable that I was like, oh, wait, so something that I said matters now. And I just named, she's like, yeah, let's go with that. And that named the whole project that we were going to do. So the fact that she said that, and I was like, I had a purpose. And automatically it built up and built up. But that was the moment that I remember forever that she said that and she looked at me directly. And she said, something that I'm thinking of creatively is going to be like what the whole class is going to do. And there was a moment that stayed with me and it completely erased. And then I made Gold Honor Roll twice. So it's like crazy that you could do a lot of it has to do with the teacher saying something in a second just to build you up. And then I just did well on everything else. It's like it's not like the work just suddenly got easier. Something that I had to do was resonating. Something that she was doing was resonating with me, and then it changed. Like, it let me graduate elementary school with a lot of confidence that led over to middle school. So she passed away, but recently I found out. And I remember thinking about it when I saw that, and I saw her picture on Facebook that somebody else put up, and I remember thinking about it like, oh man, it was like I haven't seen her in so many years. And like it was just like what she did for me was like something I'll never forget in that moment.
I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah. Oh,
Broogie? Beanie?
Yeah. So
yeah,
mine was
yeah.
positive. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Um, so when I was in second grade, I don't know if this is a memorable moment.
Yeah,
So
that's fine. That's
like it's
good.
something okay. So when I was in second grade, my teacher, Miss Corbin, who sucked, but whatever, she was reading a book to us, The Trumpeter of the Swan by Evie White. And she had invited a sixth grade student to come in and play his French horn for us. And because in the Trumpeter of the Swan, he was mute and he couldn't speak. So he can only speak through like instruments, whatever, the horn. So I remember like him coming in and playing it beautifully and thinking, wow, like that's like like I've never seen it before. At that time, I think I was playing like the clarinet or the flute. And then I changed schools in third grade and I had an opportunity to like pick an instrument. So I picked the French horn. I think I picked like a couple of other ones, but the music teacher was like, "Oh, you're really into this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I want to try it." And then I ended up playing that for until like I was like probably 23 or 24. I played that instrument. But
yeah, I remember you
yeah,
saying. I
so
remember you saying you played the French horn, and I didn't even know what that was, to be honest. Like when you said
yeah.
it, so I think I
And
pictured you
so
playing a tuba or something.
so then and then as like a result from that, I ended up in like drum corps and bugle corps, like marching, and it was like being in like in a jazz ensemble when I was in college. It was a lot of fun.
Well,
So
so let me ask you a
yeah.
question though. Like,
Did you
is
start the story?
all of those great memories thanks to Mrs. Corbo, or whatever her name was?
Yeah, Miss Corbin. I
Corbin.
mean, she was a direct. I mean, it was really the kid, the student that came in,
Yeah, but
and
she made it
but
happen.
she made it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, even though I hated her because she was horrible to me, um,
I like that you started the story off with. So she sucked.
Yeah.
Okay.
The lesson of Rugi's story is even if you're a shitty teacher, you still may have some value in someone's life.
We're not going to focus on negative teachers or moments, but
Uh,
she.
it's just horrible.
I think I remember
But
most is that she sucked. But let me just.
oh man.
no. So anyway, that's my memorable moment. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget him coming in with that horn. And then like when I was in third grade, obviously I was like a peanut. I was so little. That's why I was called Bean when I was little, because that's where my name came from, because I was tiny. And I had to
I was little
carry
too. Yeah.
I had to carry this French horn back and forth to school. So my friend Kelly would help me every day. She was taller than me because it was so heavy. I mean, it was
Wait, is that your
ridiculous.
friend Kelly who you are still friends with?
Yeah,
Oh wow. I didn't know you guys went back that far.
yeah, yeah. We've known each other since 7 or 8.
This is in Long Island, by the way,
Yes,
in
Long
Belmore.
Island. In Belmore. Yeah, yep,
Okay.
yeah, Yeah, she was like my neighbor. She lives around the corner from me. Anyway, so that's my story. That's my positive story.
So
I remember, I think I may have told this story before, but I remember I had a teacher in seventh grade, and we all had to write these essays about a topic, and I guess we all wrote them and handed them in, and then a couple of weeks later, I guess she had gone through them and graded them, and then we were in class, and she's like, there was one essay that's just stood out. It was so good, and I'm gonna read it out loud to the whole class. And she's reading this out loud, and I'm just sitting there thinking, who the heck wrote this, And then at the end, she goes, and this is by Robert Monahan. And I was like, what? Like, like I guess I just like so basically like my lesson there was like I'm the
I don't
master
remember doing the
master I
work.
was the master of bullshitting starting in like seventh grade, or eighth grade. Like, I had no
Very good.
recollection of writing those words down. I was like, all right, this is what I think she wants to hear, so let me write it down.
Well, it's
And
better than my mother actually would rewrite. She rewrote something for me in elementary school, and I had it, and I brought it to her retirement party. And when I was saying, like, because she was a teacher, I remember saying, I just wanted to read something that my mother inspired me to write when I was a young lad, and it was clearly written by an adult. You know what I'm like? I was like, by the way, if she didn't like what I was writing, she could just rewrite it for me. And I
Right.
read it. At the end, I was like,
no
I
son
want
of
to be.
mine is gonna
Yeah.
earn this
Were you
I was
sentence.
in
like,
first grade writing like a 12th grader?
no, no, it was like I remember the last the last chapter was like when I grow up I want to be an ENT doctor. I'm going to use this money to get through college,
Oh my goodness.
and I'm gonna use my music to pay the bills. And I'm like,
Wait, how old were you?
I don't know. I think it might have been sixth grade actually, during that same year,
Yeah.
But yes, I'm gonna use my music to pay the bills, and it was just like clearly not how I write because I have my wedge book here. We called it wedge. It was like a diary we kept in school, and it was like I
Do we
wrote things like this class, I'm falling asleep and, oh, there's Mr. Fatso that just walked into the room. I was horrible, I just wrote these things in there,
do we
like, oh, yeah, good.
do we have any stories of having observed a teacher do something like that would be like I don't know, that would be like me seeing or observing a teacher who I know do something and I'd be like, "Oh wow, that was like pretty amazing."
Well,
Like,
you did that for me, actually.
well, I mean, I think
I,
we
you
did it
know,
for each other a lot, but
um, well, thank you. But yeah, but you were not my official mentor, but like it pretty much that's what it was, because they let me just watch you for the first 3 days I was there. You did it something where you gave me a switch that, it went off for me of like what teaching could be, because I didn't look at it that way. And it was, you brought it to life for me. And there was a bunch of things, it was how you lined up the class. It was the way you walked in. Um, and the moments that they sat down. There was moments probably at the beginning when you would just you took your time, and those things stayed out of my head. Just rocking back and forth in the chair and looking at the kids, like and they were waiting. Like I never even saw it like that. I thought you just So all these little things stayed with me. With really the philosophy of education, and you bring everything to life. And there was moments where I would just see the kids erupt and everything. I was like, oh, we can't do that. And I was like, but then the management is then you can get them back. So you have to bring, make it that kind of experience that it stays with them. And that definitely carried over then when I was doing other things. How I saw things, with whatever subject I was teaching.
Maddie,
Yeah,
I did the same thing. Like when I came in, I mean, I never really worked in a school before. And
yeah.
so, like, as far as like management, I remember the both of you like doing that, sitting in the rocking chair and like just like waiting. So then when I had to work with large groups, I remember walking in the classroom and just like standing there, walking around, like close proximity to the students, just like reading or like standing over the corner, just, and then finally they would like, they would quiet down because like I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't yelling over them. I was just patiently waiting
Right.
for them to
Yeah.
like start and begin. So like I did the same thing. I took that from you guys too. I still do it.
Well, I got it from him, you know. I mean, everything. If I look at everybody seems like that, you know, in a rush because you got to start at the exact moment. But you know, you did start. You know what I mean? Like those aren't wasted moments. That's
No.
like forming a connection. You know?
Yeah. Well, an expectation, right? So like next time the kids know what to do. They know they're not supposed to be chatting. They know that you're going to wait,
If you
or
do it right, yeah.
if you do
If
it
you do it
right,
right,
shit.
you
Yeah.
know, and that takes a lot of repetition and kind of understanding.
I, I think it comes
Um,
back to performance. Like Matt, like you understand this very well. Like whether
yeah.
it's a magician or a comedian or an actor, it's like there's timing. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it's like you have to. You know what I mean? It's like setting the stage isn't only like setting up the room. It's like setting up the atmosphere, right? Like what's the what? How do I want the air in this room to be to feel like? You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember I would do like piano riff. I would kind of go
Yeah.
across the piano. You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
then, and like, you know, but it was like all like, you know, and then at the end, I would just kind of do like two little notes, and the kids, you know, and I would just take my time and I would look over at the kids and they're like giggling or just like waiting, and they know they have to wait. And I would just go as long as I want like this. And then maybe I would continue it, and then I just kind of do a slide riff, and then I would just sing. And sometimes I just open my mouth and like, wait, I look at them. Hello, boys and girls, and then they have to sing
Yeah.
back to me.
But I remember seeing you, and this could be in an auditorium with like 200 kids, or it can just be in a classroom. I've seen you do it in both settings where you're getting ready to start and you use the music as a way to do it, but you don't say a word. Like you just sit down at the piano and then you
Dude,
start.
you totally taught me that. You told me that when we started. There was a teacher. We had, you know, they would do mass preps, right? I hated mass preps. You know, it would be like, you know, 300 kids packed into the auditorium, and then you'd have to like watch them, like maybe with one of the person if you're lucky. We did it where we would do it alone. You
Yeah.
know, and yeah, so you like put on a movie, or something, and then you're just there and you're watching all these students, right? And I remember I had to do it with somebody, with a teacher, you know, older teacher towards the end of her career, you know, pretty eccentric style. And she's sort of like just screaming like at them, like, everybody sit down, sit down, sit down. I was like, I remember going over to the teacher, like, let's just put on, you know, like, let's move fast. So put on, you know, put on, you know, I'm just gonna put this on. I think I have Star Wars or something like that. You know, I'll just put that on. And she's like, no, 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 I got this great thing. It's gonna be fantastic. You know, and I was like, what are you gonna show? And she told me, and I was like, oh my God, that's not gonna work at all. And I knew it. And I was like, this is gonna be that. And then she put it on, and then she's screaming over that. I'm like, oh my God, this is like horrible. And I remember I did the math. It was like a brutal like hour. I remember I did the mass prep with you, and one of the first thing you taught me was, you're like, don't say anything until they sit down. You know, you're like, what do you mean? Like, we have to tell them to be quiet. It's like, no, no, let them walk in. If that's the way the teacher, you want to bring them in, you know, like, that's fine. I was like, could we have a mic? And, you know, we're in the front. Don't do anything. I was like, all right, all right, all right. So I'm like, you know, so they're coming in, and, you know, kids are like this and they're bouncing up and down and they're in the chairs and everything. And the teacher's like, and they're looking over at us. So I'm like, all right, you have them. They're stressed out. They're pulling out their hair. They leave and everything. You know, I'm like, you wait till the final class comes in. Everyone's still great. And then you just kind of stand there, you know, you look at them, and and then all of a sudden, I don't know what you said. Yeah, you maybe like, like a
That's a
tap on the
that's all
mic.
you,
Yeah, it was like a tap on the mic.
yeah.
And then you just speak very clear, like, so in a few moments, we're going to be watching something that's going to change your life
And
forever. Yeah.
slow, very slow, because
Are
I was
you
the
ready?
same.
Are you
Right.
ready, students, for an experience that will change your life forever? And you throw me
I
a bone
mean,
sometimes, like, Mr. Jacobs. are they ready? You know what I mean? Like, and then I'm like, then this can go on five
Yeah.
minutes. I mean, then we would start like a new routine that we would do.
Very soft and very slow.
Yeah, but
Like
the
it,
point was
right.
don't cut, don't,
Don't,
if we have 300 kids coming in, why are we screaming over them and then over them and over them? If they don't know how to come in, we can't orchestrate the whole school like how to come in. But once, those teachers leave and we're in charge, like in that moment, that's when it's like that's when you actually can get control. If you just
right.
stand there, you're calm and like, and they're looking at you. They're all facing this way. So that's all a little tap on the mic, bump, 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 bump. They're like, wait, what's that? Oh, wait. Oh, he's gonna
You
say
know,
something.
they don't do
Wait.
those mass preps anymore, by the way.
Yeah. I don't.
Oh, they're done.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not
They don't,
surprised. I don't.
yeah, they don't do them anymore. And if they do, if not,
Well, they
if
were
they
so
do,
amazing.
they do, they don't call them mass preps. Like if they do have, like, say they have one or two classes in the auditorium for whatever reason, they don't call it a mass prep. They call it like a study hall.
Study
Yeah.
hall. Yeah.
You know, in like The Price is Right when they call someone down to like, okay, is that some blah blah blah, come on down, and the whole like everyone in the audience is going crazy, and that person's running
Yes.
down there. Like that's kind of like what we used to do. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
there would be a question to be answered, and someone they have a chance to represent their class. I mean,
Right.
Well, there was a year that they had me do like every week I would have to have watch both pre-Ks together in the auditorium. They put the kibosh on that. It was a big like
mm,
mistake. They realized we weren't supposed to do that, but they had me doing it. So, I'm like a yes guy. I just said yes. And I remember I had like one para and like 40 preschool kids who can't sit in the chairs. That made me really like develop. Sometimes survival will just make you develop. What am I going to do? But I would fall back on things we did. I was like, okay, 10-minute quick activities. Then like I would go up and like call one of them up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, and just do something, have something amazing planned on stage, or something was going on. The giant ball came out or a bubble or something, something crazy.
I distinctly remember though, like being in the lab, and a class came in, and you were sitting in front in the science room, and I don't know if you had the keyboard across the arms of the rocking chair or not, but basically, like the kids are sitting there and they're just like making noise because you haven't started your thing yet. But you didn't say anything. You just started playing like classical piano. You're like, like it was like the longest, most sophisticated intro ever. And then I think you started singing like "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It was like something.
that was more like that. I was more or less amusing myself a
Yeah.
lot. I'd be like very soft, and it's like I'm Liberace now, and then I'd be like, you know, then I would just sing something like, "I hear the train is coming."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the kids will, then they snap into like it's like you hypnotize them. Then they'd be like choo choo, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, there's certain sounds. The doors were closed. 50 kids
And
going
those
doo
and
doo
those
to
kids will
save.
never forget it. Like they'll never forget it.
I think so. I think some will, and then there's definitely a handful that
I would say more than a
remember.
handful for sure.
What if we were to ask kids who we taught back then, who are now adults or in their 20s, something that they remember, what do you think that they might say?
Oh, that's easy for me, Herbie. That would actually be like my highest moment as a teacher would be teaching the tortoise and the hare. And there's this
Hmm.
moment where I got these guys here. I had Igor and Herbie. Igor was like the tortoise,
T-Rex.
even though he's a
Yeah.
T-Rex, he's a dinosaur, but I had him as the tortoise, and Herbie, even though it was a chicken, was like the hare, right? And like, um, but no, that would be reversed actually, but
Herbie's a chicken.
I,
I thought Herbie was a duck.
thanks a lot, Bergie.
Does that look like a duck?
Oh, I can't believe you just called me a duck.
Ducks
Is
don't
that
wear
is
hats.
that is that a counselor or a school psychologist or what do you do anyway?
I mean, a bird's a bird.
Oh,
Anyway, so they were playing the characters, but it wasn't really like the tortoise and the hare. But the way I told it was, I just acted it out with them, and I had like a rope set up like as the finish line, and I had both of them in my hands, right? And they're going around the room, and I'm sort of acting out the story with them playing the characters. But Igor's like, being the aggressor, and he like takes a nap, and knocks Herbie over. And they're like, oh no, and then like, so Igor's sort of like, sitting down and, and then Herbie at the end, like sort of like gets himself back up, and the kids sort of erupt, like, go, 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 he's sleeping. And they're so into it. So then I'm like, how do I do this? So I had like Igor in the back like this, and then Herbie starting to run, and then like I had like Herbie coming in and like trying to catch up, and then they're basically me like pushing them like this towards the finish line, and the kids are erupting right now, screaming like go 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 go, and like they don't care that I'm even there. They're just looking at them, and like Herbie like is knocking him out of the way, and Herbie win. I just push Herbie through it, and there's an eruption. Like yeah. And that's the moment that that's the moment I never forgot. Like that moment there that stayed with me as the teacher, because what I was doing for them to make them so into the story, to use these guys to just completely, give them that a story can be that powerful, of the tortoise and the hare. Like it basically, rooting for the underdog of the story. Which is great
Matt,
thing, and I think they related to that.
Matt, you had a handful of puppets like over the years, which you used these things all the time,
Or stuffed animals. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you really incorporated them. But I have a question for Broogie or Beanie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You had this like tree of all these puppets in your office, which I think you still do. It was like this like thing with all these arms on it, and it must have been 20 different puppets on there.
Yeah, I still have it.
Did you ever use one of those puppets?
I used them today. Yes, I'm not. Yes.
Really? We're both making faces. I don't know if you can see us.
I still use them.
They were in back of where I sat there. I sat there, and then they were like in back of me.
It was like the island of the misfit toys. They were like banished to the corner.
I kind of felt bad for them.
Yeah, like they needed to be saved. Oh, tell us the story about how you used the puppets, Broogie. I'm curious.
I mean, so I use them for safe touch and unsafe touch.
Have you ever used them for a normal purpose? I mean,
I'm a duck, so what the hell do I know?
Did you hear Matt's story just now about that's using the puppet? That's using have you ever used
safe touch is important? No, safe touch is important though.
Yeah, but has she ever used them with voices and like where she did a voice and she acted something out?
Can you give us an example of how you used them?
Don't touch me there.
That wouldn't be safe.
No. I play puppets with the younger kids. Like if they have, so like we'll do our lesson, and then like if I give them free time at the end, and I'll give them a choice. They can do Play-Doh with puppets, and if they choose puppets, we play puppets. And then I do a voice, sure. And then
you? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
so like I'll pretend I'm a kid. What's the type of thing that a kid would use a puppet and say to you? Like what kind of dialogue does a kid open up in puppet world?
So like I'll give you an example. For one of my students, we play this game where he takes the slime, and then he wants me to eat the puppet to eat the slime. So what I do is I take the puppet and I'll pick up a pencil and I'll go, and then I'll pick up a crayon and go, and I'll pick up, and then finally I'll pick up the slime and go, yum, yum, yum. And he giggles and laughs and thinks it's so funny. So now every time he comes into my room, he will lay out like different objects on the table just so that I can spit them out and go, like I want the slime. So
I mean, like there's one thing to have a sound effect, kind of like yum 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 yum, but there's another thing to have a voice. Like, does your puppet ever go, "Oh, I don't eat any of that"? Like, do you have any voices that you do?
Yes.
You're not gonna do it. She's not.
No, all of a sudden, her sound is breaking up. She's like,
"Well, how is this a safe touch lesson? I don't know. Where did we go to that for this? That's slime."
Do one of your puppet voices for us.
She's pretending not to listen
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Now she's not there. Now she's like, oh, well, I must be driving through a dead zone. I can't hear or speak.
I'll have to put Mozart on like, to replace her. Just call me Beanie. I'm
Uh,
the
I
greatest.
just did it, guys. I just did it.
no,
Oh, she's
wait,
back.
wait. I'm sorry, Matt.
Said it. You guys don't listen because you're laughing at me.
No, I want to
I was Mozart. You didn't say anything. I
I
didn't hear
want
a
to
voice.
remind you that this is being recorded. Okay, the world knows that you said and you made no
I just
noise.
said this is delicious. I said this is delicious in my
Oh,
puppet voice.
that's the pup.
But that
Okay, I
was your
got you.
normal voice.
She was a little excited. I'll give her a. No, it's developing.
Uh, okay, we'll let you off the
Yeah,
hook.
no, we'll let it slide. Yeah,
That's fine.
But
no,
yes, I play with puppets with my kids, not by
all right.
myself, with my students. Yeah.
No, I'm glad they get off the shelf. That's
Yeah.
good. It's good for
Remember in
everybody.
Toy Story, like 3 or something, when
Yeah, the
there's
ones that
like
were up on top.
yeah, and like the one of them has like emphysema because he's so
Yeah,
dusty.
the
Like
dusty. Yeah,
he's like,
That is Toy Story 2, my
is it
dear.
okay?
Yes. Yeah.
the Woody gets placed up there.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's next to like some kind
Actually,
of
in Toy Story 1, he's placed
He's
up
next
there.
wait, isn't he placed
he's
next
next
to a
to
chicken?
Wheezy. He's next to Wheezy, the penguin.
Yeah,
Oh, the
Wheezy.
penguin, the
Yeah,
penguin.
yeah,
That's right, Wheezy.
yeah.
That is the most underrated Toy Story because it's all about
Well,
Star
that's
Wars
actually the
and I
first
love it.
one. Yeah.
No, it's the second one with Wheezy.
Wheezy is the second one.
And it's like Emperor
Oh,
Zurg, who's really like Darth Vader, and
Oh,
he's Buzz Lightyear's father.
yeah, and Toy Story 3 is the one with Lotso the bear.
Yes,
They go to the
yes.
daycare facility or whatever.
Oh my God. Yeah. I sobbed at
A
the end of that.
claw.
oh, that claws was like
That's
amazing.
that claw. Yeah, that's
You've
the
been
first.
chosen.
Oh
Now let him go. You've been chosen.
my God. I loved, like as an adult watching those movies with their children. It's
Well, when I was teaching, I would purposely put it on. We had to, like if we especially like those mass prep times, like I
Yeah.
would always pick up just the first Toy Story and put it on because I loved it.
I'm into Ice Age because
Yeah.
Rob would show that
Right.
in Dawn of the Dinosaurs. You would show that in your mass preps or
Yeah.
Yeah.
in your mass prep.
That was a great one.
And that and
I
so
like the
like
first one. Yeah.
I mean to the point where I watched it so much with Austin that we quote it
Yeah.
now. Like
Yeah.
we'll go around the house and quote Dawn of the Dinosaurs.
And if anyone's wondering like how this fits into the school day, you can go back to our episode on cinema, which was like episode 4 maybe or something. So
Mhm. And that's when they also had me do a mass prep where I argued to make it a film lecture.
yeah.
Like I said, I'll do it, but I was like, but it's going to be a film lecture, and then I picked the movies that I wanted, or like we watched like Star Wars, and then the first we did episode 4 of Star Wars. I think we
Wait,
did.
I love how your like mass preps became like let's make a deal.
Yeah.
I'll do mass prep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because after you do it, like, because when you look at this, and if it's a favor, then you got to realize, you have
Yeah.
to survive. You're the one that has to like do it every week. And I realized I was also coming from kindergarten, and that's when they had the other building, the annex. So I'd be like running over there. You know what I mean? Like, like right after teaching like an hour of 5-year-olds, and then I'll be like, you know what? If I'm going to do it, like, imagine in your head, oh, Star Wars is waiting for me there, So then I would like
Yeah.
come in, and then like I have it set up, and then like Star Wars is on, people would come in, and I'd be like, and I just sit and like watch it with them. It was great. And then I just stop and like get up and slowly walk over and talk a little bit about like, so what's really Darth Vader's motivation at this moment, And,
I
and
want to
then
do
like,
it.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to do a quick experiment here. One
Do
of us will mention something from a movie, right? And then I want to see. I don't want to say too much because I want to see what happens. But so because we're talking about memorable moments, right? So like
Yeah.
obviously movies are like the perfect like breeding ground for thinking of memorable moments. But think of any movie that you want to, something that really stands out, like something that you know It could be from your favorite movie, or it could be from something that's not your favorite movie. But we already just mentioned a couple. But so it can be totally random, and I just want to see what the reaction or response is from the other two people when the one person gives theirs.
Okay.
All right. All right,
So
I'll
you,
jump in. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Brie. You want to go?
no, you go first because I need an example
Or
before
you
I.
don't even have to say the name. You can just start quoting something and see if we recognize it. It could be whatever you want, you know.
Oh, okay.
All right. So Paulie is basically in the ring, and
Oh my
Adrian
God.
Adrian is trying to get in the ring,
Yeah.
right? And they really had it out in this film, which I think we know what we're
Yeah.
talking about here.
Your
Um,
mouth.
And he turns
because
around kind of and he holds the rope
he
open for
holds
her.
it's a
Yeah.
weird edit, and he
Yes.
leans against it and he lifts
He
it.
distracts someone.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The cop's ripping at his
Yeah,
shirt,
yeah, yeah.
right? And he's like ripping at his shirt.
His
And
mind
he's like,
is
that's my friend.
yeah.
Rocco, that's
Yeah.
my friend.
But
And then Adrian's trying to get through and she
yep.
loses her hat. And this is a big moment for her because she's really this
Yeah.
shy woman who doesn't like step into the limelight at all in her life. She's always in the background, gets put down a lot by her brother. You know what I mean? And then she's but they're both sort of like, from the streets, from a poor
Yeah.
upbringing, and then there's that's their person in there. This is
Yeah.
overwhelming for them, for all three of them. You know what I mean? Rocky just went 15 rounds with the world champion. His face is a
Yep.
mess. He's in there, and Paulie just knows you have to go to him. That's my best friend. That's my brother in
Yeah.
there. So I can't get there. They got me. You got to do it. And she's like, Paulie, and then he just like, you got to go to him. You
He's
have to be the one.
distracting. Yeah.
Yes, you have. And so he just lifts the rope slightly for her and distracts the cop so she can get in there.
But
And
it's like the first
she
nice
just goes
thing.
to him.
It's like the
Yes.
first nice thing you ever see him do for her.
But I
'Cause
saw it also like it's a team.
yeah, oh,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah, for
three of
sure.
them against
Brother and sister.
everybody.
Brother and
Like
sister.
basically the one thing we
Yeah.
have to do right now is make sure he's okay.
Right.
And he needs you right now.
Right.
So I can't get to him. You have to be the one.
Who
Yeah.
And that's the
lifted,
first thing, that they agreed on. Go. And
who
he gave her
lifted,
such. Go
who
ahead.
lifted the rope?
Her brother
Paulie.
lifted. Yeah, Paulie lifted
Paulie
the
was her
rope.
brother?
Yes.
Yes.
I thought
You-
Paulie was the guy who trained him.
no, that's Mickey.
Oh, Mickey.
You
Okay.
watched this with us in the lab. We did a screening
Okay.
in the
I
back
hate
room.
Okay.
fucking-
Broogie,
Parent
why don't you
teachers
go
night.
before
We
you
showed you you watched the whole film.
Broogie, why don't you go before you say something that we can never forgive you for? Okay.
understand, Rocky. I was so confused. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't understand why you guys love this movie
Okay.
so
Like
much.
I said,
No,
why don't you go and
it's my
give-
number one movie
It's-
too.
It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. It
It's
doesn't make sense.
it's an Academy Award winning movie.
It's a horrible movie.
They shot this in 28 days. 28 days. That's why
I
there's
don't know
no
if that's a
glitz and
good thing or a
glam.
bad thing.
No, because there was no glitz or glamour. If they didn't get it done, they just strip down everything that they take away.
You know what?
And it was almost shot like a play.
I-
It's just these pure 5
Yeah.
or 6 main characters, and the main thing is this guy's been shit on his whole life, and he thinks of himself as a bum, and then he just gets a shot at the heavyweight championship of the world. So he's from such a low level in this profession to get a shot at the highest thing. It's a perfect story.
You know what?
If you think about it.
I'm
And
gonna.
they're all underdogs in the whole story.
I got
They're
one
all
thing to
like-
say. One thing to say to Broogie before we let her go. I'm gonna say one word to you. Butkus. Okay, go ahead.
What?
Matt understands. You don't get it, but you can you can go and do
Mhm.
your thing. And by the way, the audience understands too.
What do you mean?
Butkus. Okay, go ahead. What's your movie?
What's my movie?
Yeah. What's your like? Matt?
Okay,
Matt
am
just,
I like?
no. Matt just gave his example, and the moment he started talking about it, I jumped in, and we had a connection
Mm-hmm.
there, and it's like we were both. It's like two people who have seen this movie separately and who have never talked about this thing, just like synchronized mentally,
Okay.
immediately once he said Paulie in the ring, I knew exactly where he was going. Okay, go ahead.
She
All
a
right,
duck.
So there's he's a 20-year-old, like in his 20s, and he's a fuck up his whole life. and his dad is retiring, but he says to his son, "You never graduated high school, so you need to go back
Tommy Boy.
to high school, starting with kindergarten."
Oh,
No,
Adam Sandler.
Adams. Yeah, no, that's
Oh.
no, that's not Happy Gilmore. That's
No, what was it called?
Come on, guys,
not
are
the
you
golf one.
serious?
Oh my God.
I'm not telling you.
Want to touch the?
Today,
Is that where he goes? Want to
remember?
touch the hiney? Is that what he says?
Wants to touch the hiney? Yes. You
I
don't remember?
I can't remember the
I
title.
forgot the name. Yeah, I forgot the title.
Guys,
The title. Well, the title doesn't really matter. It's just like, are
No,
we
I've seen all.
syncing?
I've seen Big Dad. You know, I've seen like
Yeah.
Big
all right,
Daddy.
so
I've seen
it's an
Waterboy.
oral movie. Like
No,
shampoo
I've
goes on first, then conditioner.
Happy
Like,
Gilmore.
yeah,
No,
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 no, that's
no.
that's the golf
What?
one. Oh, I just said.
That's the golf one.
I can't get Kindergarten Cop out of my head. That's the problem.
No, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I know it's Arnold, but I'm just saying I can't get I can't get the title of the Adam Sandler. It's back
not
to
a
school.
Google.
No, that's Rodney
No,
Dangerfield.
that's Rodney Dangerfield.
Guys, you're the worst. Are you serious?
No,
You don't
I
remember the name of this
she
movie?
wins. We should know this.
Wait,
you
wait,
know?
wait.
And I'm an Adam
Are
Sandler
you
fan.
going to the mall later? Are you going to the mall later? That Veronica Vaughn is one piece of ass.
Oh, wait, give us a hint. Give us wait, was
Oh, Doyle rules.
was he the bus driver in that movie?
Chris Farley was the bus driver in that
Oh
movie.
my God,
Yeah.
that was the same movie? That was that?
Yeah.
Okay. Give us a hint.
No.
How many words? How many words?
It's 2 words and it's the name. It's his name. That's the name of the movie.
Oh.
Is his name.
Oh, Jerry Maguire.
I just looked it up because I couldn't take it. I cheated.
No.
Wait, what's the first letter of the first word?
I know now. I gave up
What?
because I knew she wasn't going to tell us. It
What?
was driving me crazy.
B.
B.
I don't think I would have got it actually, and that's really weird. I don't know why I wouldn't have. I didn't remember the name.
I started off all serious too. Like this was going to be a serious
Dude, I like know
His
the
first
Hanukkah
name
song
is
by
B?
heart.
Starts with a B.
His first
I'm
name
just
starts
gonna-
with a P. Oh,
I'm just going to tell you. It's
Yeah.
Billy Madison.
Oh, Billy Madison.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. Okay.
All right, Rob. What's yours?
I gotta think.
Disappointed in myself.
I can't believe you didn't know an Adam Sandler.
I'm a huge Adam Sandler guy. You know, like I watched.
Wait,
you know,
there's
I
some like
love the
random
song.
movie that not many people know. It's not an Adam Sandler. Like he wasn't in it, but it's a Happy Gilmore like production. It's like I think that's his like production company. It's called Grandma's Boys. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
I saw some of it. I saw some of it.
Okay, just
Not
curious.
the whole. Yeah, not
Yeah,
not the
most
whole.
people
Not.
don't. Most people don't know it really, but it's like a classic. Classic.
You ever
movie.
watch some of Rob Schneider's movies?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Rob, what's your movie?
I'm trying to think of how I want to do this because I like the way Matt did it because he started talking about a scene and it wasn't about what movie it was. It was about like what the scene meant. Like, because I think a lot of people who have seen Rocky, that went right over their head. You know what I mean? But then I like the way you did that, Broogie, where it was us, you know, kind of like honing in on what the movie was, you know.
Trying to guess.
And I'm trying to escape the obvious ones. Like I have a couple of Star Wars things in mind, but I feel like they're too obvious, you know. And part of me wants to do like a little spin on this, where I give part of a title, and then I'll see if you guys can remember the rest of it. So, a one movie would be like, Blank and the Hendersons.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Harry and the
Harry and the
Hendersons. Right.
yeah.
So, I had another good
John Lithgow, right?
Yeah.
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 Oh man.
That's your movie?
No, I don't even. It's funny because, like, you know. Okay. Or maybe I'll just say a line from a movie. And
Game.
I'm gonna say a line. I'm gonna say a line from the movie, and I want to see if you guys Didn't think of it.
All right.
We guess
So
the movie?
all right, the setting is that they're in a restaurant, right? And you know
When
when
Harry Met Sally.
no, but good guess. You know when
You
you're in a
agree. As
restaurant.
soon as he said that, that's exactly what I thought also. That's
See,
so
but
funny.
that's
And you,
synchronicity between you two, by the way.
yeah.
Now, you know when you're in a restaurant sometimes and like on diners, drive-ins and whatever, like they have like food challenges. They're like, oh, if you can do the turbo chili challenge, you can get your meal for free. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So think of that kind of a theme. There's a family in a restaurant together, and there's a challenge to eat like I forget what this steak is called.
The great outdoors.
Yes,
Yeah, with John Candy. The Grizzle.
and the grizzle.
And the Grizzle.
He eats the whole steak and he leaves like
Yeah,
the
I know.
fat bits behind, and he says,
Yeah,
"I'm
I know.
done." And the
No,
chef
you're
comes
not
out,
done yet. And he had
and
to
the
eat the fat.
grizzle.
Oh my God. That was such
And
a
he ate
great
it.
freaking movie.
It was like, oh.
I was actually talking about that movie recently with my family, how great that movie was.
And
That movie's so good.
and then there's like Uncle Buck where he's with Macaulay Culkin,
I love Uncle Buck.
and
Yeah.
he makes the
I
pancake
love
that's
it.
like the size of
Oh
a.
yeah. That's you if at home. Basically probably making breakfast for Sam.
I love Uncle Buck also. I love that movie. John Candy's just like the best. When he is in
Planes,
Splash,
train.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, you're going
Oh,
the
yeah.
wrong way.
You're going
But
the
no,
wrong way.
Splash
I don't know where we're
probably.
going.
You're right. You just said Splash, though. That might be like He didn't star in that, but like that's, like one of his greatest performances in that movie.
Where he's
He
just
had
sitting in
so
the
much
tank.
heart in it as well.
And
You know what I
when
mean?
he's sitting in the tank and he's fishing with his
Yeah, I
feet,
know.
like just dangling.
Wait.
Come on in, you fella. Come on in, boys. The
Was that
water's fine.
Was that the one where he plays racquetball? Where he's playing racquetball?
Yeah. And he tells her she's a fish, and he's like, "All right, she's a fish. Yeah, what?" Then he kicks everybody out. What's the matter? You never saw anybody make love to a fish before? Get back to work. He's like, "All right." But then he has this great.
She gets out of the
Yeah.
water. She
Cheap. That was the cop.
No, he was a tour guide. He was a tour
Oh, that was the tour guide, right? Oh, they called the cops over. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. He's going through. He's talking about the Statue of Liberty, Then he just, I think somehow he just says, "and naked ladies everywhere," and then like, "Oh, God, she balls."
Well,
that was probably one of the very first like PG movies I had ever seen, and like.
Wait, Splash is PG?
Yeah, because it's PG because you see her butt.
Yeah, why would that be PG?
Shouldn't it be PG-13 then?
Yeah, I'm saying
I
like,
think
PG
butts,
is parents' guidance is suggested. Wouldn't that go?
because back then, I don't know if you guys remember, but like back then, they re-rated a lot of movies because in the 80s, a lot of movies that were like PG were actually supposed to be like PG-13, or like PG-13 movies should have been like NC-17. Like they
went at it in the they went at it in the elevator in Splash, so like that pretty like intensely, but
I don't know. They show that stuff on TV now, right?
Wait, did they did they change Splash's rating, or are you saying it's still PG now?
I just remember it being PG and being oh my God, this is my first PG movie because I was so little.
Let's see.
I carried a watermelon.
Oh my God, Dirty Dancing.
You're right. It's rated PG. Okay.
Wait, so Dirty Dancing, Rob, that's so crazy because I was literally about to say when I was little, my dad used to record movies and he used to, if there was any sex scenes or nudity, he would like pause the recording and then he would continue so I can watch it. So Dirty Dancing was one of the first ones that he did that for so that I could see it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like
it got moved up to PG-13 now. By the way, I'm sorry, I was reading it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, see, so like when I was a kid, it was PG.
It got re-rated.
But there,
PG-13. Yeah.
There's a synchronicity,
and they block out like the stuff on Disney Plus and stuff. Like they edit and they do all that kind of stuff.
that's a synchronicity, Broogie, between you and I, because once we started talking about ratings, the first movie that came to my mind was Dirty Dancing, because I wasn't allowed to watch it in the theater because it was right.
Same.
So
yeah, and
So-
all my friends would. Yeah, but
no, so movies are mediums for shared experiences and for
yeah,
like these shared synchronicities. That was my whole point, and I think we all just proved it just now.
yeah. This podcast is going to shift to movies. So I just pulled in the driveway. I gotta
Okay.
go.
All right.
All right.
I'll
So,
talk
Matt,
to
you wanna take us
guys
out of here?
later.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for tuning in to Playing Teacher, and please stay. Hey, there she is.
Hey, in the flesh.
And there will probably be an outro after I speak. That we haven't actually put in there, but hope you enjoyed these moments, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. See you next time.